This is Qtv News. I am Umudu Gajaga and thank you very much for joining us on tonight's news bulletin. We will give you the main local, international and sports news headlines. 7th ECOWAS Summit, which among other things extended the mandate of peacekeeping troops in the Gambia. Residents of a housing estate are among the latest to be displaced due to recent heavy rainfall. A day after International Literacy Day, we bring you an interview with the Secretary General of the Writers Association of the Gambia. And a mosque in URR is rendered unusable due to storm damage. In international news, a Norwegian member of parliament, who not many outside Norway had heard of, is now world famous after he nominated US President Donald Trump for a second time for the Nobel Peace Prize. And Namibia may have sniffed out a unique way of detecting COVID-19. In sports news, African Football Governing Body CAF holds a historic meeting via video conferencing to present the organization's women's football strategy program. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thanks for joining us. The 57th ECOWAS Summit has ended in Niamey, Niger, with sub-regional leaders, among other things, agreeing to extend the mandate of the economic forces in the Gambia by another 6 months, which is renewable. The current mandate of ECOMIC ended in June this year. Alusise has the rest of the story.
In a final communique at the end of the summit, ECOWAS leaders reaffirmed their commitment to the promotion of peace, security and stability in the region. On the situation of the Gambia, they welcome the political reforms undertaken to stabilize the country. After considering the report of the Mediation and Security Council meeting at ministerial level, the leaders decided to extend the mandate of the ECOWAS mission in the Gambia, ECOMIC, for 6 months to enable the mission to provide support, particularly for the ongoing security sector reform in the country. It also decides that ECOMIC will gradually change into a police mission. Regarding the situation in Mali, the authority reaffirms its determination to ensure that constitutional order is quickly restored there, with a political transition led by a civilian president and prime minister for 12 months. Leaders direct that the head of transition and prime minister, both civilians, be appointed no later than 15 September. They welcome the departure of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita for a medical treatment abroad and wish him a speedy recovery. On Guinea-Bissau, the ECOWAS leaders expressed satisfaction at the progress made in the functioning of institutions, particularly the National Assembly and the government, and has therefore decided to withdraw the ECOWAS mission there. They expressed their gratitude to the troops and police contributing countries for their efforts in the stabilization of Guinea-Bissau. On his return to Banjul on Tuesday afternoon, President Barrow told reporters that peace and security are prerequisites for the economic integration and development of the region.
We want to make sure also Gambia is stable and secure, and our region is stable and secure. That is our priority, and that is top in our agenda. We cannot develop if we are not secure. There is no stability.
On matters of upcoming presidential elections in Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Guinea and Niger, the summit calls on member states to create an enabling environment for peace, inclusive and transparent elections. On matters of the disruptive COVID-19 pandemic in the sub-region, the authority calls for joint and coordinated efforts in the reopening of international borders to ensure an effective regional response to the fight against COVID-19 and revive the economies. In this regard, the heads of state and government endorsed immediate application of the ECOWAS harmonized guidelines on cross-border transport, trade and health protocols in the COVID-19 pandemic and post-recovery within the ECOWAS region, recommended by the Ministerial Coordination Committees on Health and Transport and Trade. Member states, the ECOWAS Commission and West African Health Organization WAHO are all to propose urgently a strategy for the availability of anti-COVID-19 vaccines in the ECOWAS region and support for the creation of pharmaceuticals industries. The heads of state and government directed the president of the commission to constitute a team of experts to conduct a feasibility study on production of vaccines within the region. The authority directs the commission to support the member states in their quest for debt service suspension in 2021. In terms of free movement of persons and goods, the sub-regional leaders note with concern the continuing challenges in the implementation of the protocol on free movement of persons and goods arising from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. On the long and much awaited ECOWAS single currency, ECO, which was to have been launched this year, leaders agreed, among other things, to develop a new roadmap for the ECOWAS single currency program, postpone the launch of the single currency to a later date, and to maintain the gradual approach its launching. On education and science, the summit reports the establishment of the ECOWAS Research and Innovation Support Program, PARI, which aims to promote the implementation of research projects in member states' priority development areas. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Our reporter Aliou Cisse ending that report. Residents at Jabang Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation Estate have been displaced following flooding caused by the recent heavy downpour. As Ansumana Esonyasi reports, residents are calling on government and philanthropists to come to their aid.
The devastating impact of the recent heavy rains could be seen in many parts of the country, including here. Heaps of sand bought for construction washed away by the water. Fences brought down and the entire neighborhood inundated with water. The odor from this water is unbearable. Some of the residents have now evacuated their homes, while others are trapped and have nowhere to go. The community mosque is also affected and is now abandoned. Speaking to QTV, an emotional Demba Sonko, a resident of the Social Security Housing Estate in Jabang, says they have reached out to authorities, but help has not been forthcoming. He explains that the floods are caused by the poor sewage system and the building of houses on the culverts which block the waterways and thereby flooding the entire neighborhood.
Continuous rains, which has caused this damage to our settlement. You've seen from the mosque down there, the rain water has been flowing and it has nowhere to go. The only problem here we are encountering is the waterway, that is to have a sewage to at least make this water drain out to where it can empty itself. That's our main problem here. You have compounds here who are already relocated themselves to their neighbors or to their family house in Serekunda or somewhere else. So that's a big problem. Some people are still suffering, you can see this. That's the road linking to the field there. It's packed full of water, like river.
Some of the residents living in this swampy neighborhood are civil servants. Mr. Sonko says they were allocated land in the area by Social Security. However, with floods frequently occurring, some of the residents now want to relocate. But for now, they want the National Disaster Management Agency and the Social Security to help them drain the water.
Sewage drainage system, the landscape is the cause of all these things, and we are not observant to most of these things that can help us see the water go out of this place, because there are not many places. Some people, of course, have seen it and deliberately make constructions on the road and have blocked the road, which has caused some of these things. You can see it from the mosque side there. That story building alongside with all other settlements on the roadside there have blocked the waterway, so the water cannot pass.
With some of the worst affected families now left hopeless, except for the benevolence of family members who live far away. Ibrahim Toure, also a resident of the Jabang Social Security Housing Estate, explains the cause of the problem and appeals for help. It's a swampy area, and when Social Security was allocating land here, they only constructed a few culverts, but they did not complete it. And the situation has been made worse by people building houses on waterways. So we are appealing to government and anyone who could help to please come to our aid. For many of the families, anger, frustration, and hopelessness have become the new normal. With excess rainfall and high tides, floods have been a major natural disaster affecting the Gambia over the past few decades. However, for everyone, the question seems to be the same every year. When will the necessary work be done to prevent flooding? Ansumana Esonyasi for Qtv News.
Ansumana Esonyasi reporting there. As part of events marking the World International Literacy Day 2020, which this year had the theme Literacy, Teaching and Learning in COVID-19 Crisis and Beyond. Loli M. Kamara has a chat with SG Writers Association of the Gambia to reflect and shed light on the importance of the day of our country. Here is the report. Dominated by COVID-19, International Literacy Day 2020 focuses on how the pandemic has affected literacy teaching and learning and looks beyond the COVID-19 crisis. It seeks to put the role of educators and changing methods of teaching and learning at the center of lifelong learning experience, focusing mainly on youth and adults. Highlighting some of the key areas of focus, Modulamin Sow, the Secretary General of the Gambia Writers Association, said it is impossible to overemphasize the importance of the day, adding that it is a day to reflect on progress and achievements made through reading and learning. He mentions the ambitious target of eradicating literacy by 2030. The scale of that ambition is shown by the fact that at the moment the literacy rate in the Gambia is 55.5%. Among our neighbors in Senegal, it is 55.7%, and in Guinea-Bissau it is 59.9%, and in Cape Verde the rate is in 87.6%. More than just literacy rates, it is also a day to promote reading and writing. SG Sow went further to state that from post-independence to now, our education system has focused on academics and not vocational skills, but was quick to add that an education policy is in place and they have signed an MOU with the Ministry of Education to help implement a book policy. Also in celebrating the day, the Writers Association have already donated 144 books as part of their contribution.
Reading is as important as how you have a cell phone in your hand. It is as important as drinking water and eating food, because literacy is life. And this is why any other thing can wait, but literacy cannot wait, even in this crisis. You have seen when schools were closed and they have to reopen because it can't wait. They can't wait at all.
He also said a lot of sensitization will continue to enlighten the public on the importance of reading and encourage people to start reading books, especially books written by Gambians, which are growing in number. In this regard, they have made significant recommendations to MOPSI and the Higher Education Ministry.
We are happy to recommend to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and to the entire Gambian populace that we need a book policy. We are badly in need of a book policy because we have an education policy. It is the book policy of a country that will tell you that from kindergarten, for example, to university level, so percentage, example 60% of books by Gambians must be read in those institutions. And this is what is happening in Tanzania, in Nigeria, Kenya, and other countries in the world.
He also said one way forward is to look back at the aspirations of people like the late Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. In honoring the Gambian writers, they have issued a list of 100 most influential Gambian writers as a way of honoring them while they are alive. Mamudu Gajaga, Qtv News. And now to our next story. The heavy torrential rains continue to cause destruction. Residents of Tuba Wapa village in Wuli are forced to observe congregational prayers in the open after a windstorm and heavy rain destroyed the only mosque in the village. Alaji A.F. Jallo has more on this story.
Constructed Lamin Koto Pasamas Road, the only mosque in this community, built in 2004, stand on the brink of collapse and cracks are visible on the walls. The imam and other members of the community says it is too dangerous for them to continue to use the mosque. The imam is calling for support.
Juma o ko juma tunundu faf. Ko juma diwan o ko juma leydi ndi faf. Juma onon min jadi e makko ha no jirud on boni hande.
This mosque is the only one in this community and for the surrounding villages. We came with it up to this level. The mosque can fall at any time. Sometimes, if it rains, it is totally impossible for us to utilize this mosque. And sometimes during prayers, we are always scared that it can fall on us at any time. We thank Allah for Ablai who asked us to relate the information to QTV because he is a keen listener to radio for the world to know our plight and come to our aid. The Alcalo of the village, Silla Saud, thanked QTV for coming to highlight the plight to the mosque to the whole world and joined the imam in calling for support. We thank you for coming to Tuba Wapa. We appreciate your concern. It has come to us as a surprise, as a giant TV in this country, for you to swiftly respond to our concerns. People have to understand, we are Muslims. We are only asking for support, and we really need support in order for us to rebuild this mosque, for Muslims to pray there in peace. The youth leader, Jataso, also has this to say.
The mosque was constructed in 2004, and well before the construction of the mosque, it was a thatch house where we normally pray. But with the help of a Muslim agency for association that come to our aid, that happened to build the mosque. Then from there, we have canyon areas, that is Saringhawa and other places that do come here for prayer. Then in 2 years back, it was hit by a heavy storm that damaged it. Then this year also, last 2 to 3 weeks back, it was also hit by another windstorm that affected the mosque. If you can look at MCA, it is fenced by woods, and which is not even proper. But we thought that we are not even part of the country. But with the help of QCell, we are saying thank you to you that you come to our aids to show us that we are part of the country. Definitely we are appealing for help by anyhow, because this belongs to the Almighty Allah. It doesn't belong to anybody. It is not a political house. It is a Muslim. It belongs to almost Muslims, definitely.
As narrated by Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, whoever build a mosque for Allah, Allah will build for you likewise in paradise. For now, the people of this community are hoping and praying that a Samaritan will soon come to their aid. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alaji A.F. Jallo.
From that report, we will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, the news continues with international and sports news stories. Do stay tuned, don't go away. We are coming back.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75C and $100C and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10C to $100C using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and upcoming next is international news. US President Donald Trump has been nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. The nomination by a member of the Norwegian Parliament is for President Trump's role in helping to broker the Israel-UAE peace deal. Babukar C. have this report.
This is the second time that Donald Trump has been nominated for the Peace Prize by the same person. In 2018, Christian Tybring-Gjedde, a member of the Norwegian Parliament who also serves as chairman of the Norwegian delegation to the NATO Parliament Assembly, submitted a nomination for Trump after he met with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The Norwegian parliamentarian was quoted as saying, "I think he has done more trying to create peace between nations than most other Peace Prize nominees." Early this year, Mr. Trump was not happy when Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed won the award in 2019, citing that he, Trump, had brokered more peace deals in Africa. Trump said, "I made a deal, I saved a country, and I just heard that the head of that country is now getting the Nobel Peace Prize for saving the country." He, however, didn't name the Nobel Peace Prize winner or the country, but it was clear that Mr. Trump was referring to the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and refused to congratulate him. Donald Trump, who has never been shy about self-praise, has publicly said he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize for, among other things, his effort to convince North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un to give up nuclear weapons. This ignores the fact that the North Korean leader is yet to do so. Over 300 individuals and organizations have been nominated for the 2020 award, the most ever. The winner of the award will be announced in October. President Trump's predecessor, Barack Obama, won the international prize in 2009 when he had only been in office for less than a year. The Nobel Peace Prize is one of the 5 Nobel Prizes established by the will of Swedish industrialist, inventor and armaments manufacturer Alfred Nobel. Since March 1901, it has been awarded annually to those who have done the most or the best work for the fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, or for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. Due to its political nature, the Nobel Peace Prize has for most of its history been the subject of numerous controversies that is likely to continue if Mr. Trump wins. Babukar C, QTV News.
Interesting story there about the Nobel Peace Prize. Every world leader would want to claim that they deservedly would want to win the Nobel Peace Prize. But let's see how it pans out. Now to an extraordinary story. The University of Namibia has started a pilot project to train sniffer dogs to detect COVID-19 in humans. This comes as humans infected with the virus are said to have a distinct smell that some dogs can detect. This story by Babukar Cisse is narrated by Momutulamin Choi.
With the number of COVID-19 cases rising in the country on a daily basis, Namibia is the first country in Africa to venture into training dogs to sniff out COVID-19. The project started 2 months ago at the University of Namibia School of Veterinary Medicine, but it does not say when the dogs will be ready. The plan is to deploy the dogs at airports and borders to help fight the pandemic in a unique way. Dogs have proven 95% accurate at detecting coronavirus, according to a veterinary lecturer in Namibia. Colombia is one country which claims to have had success with a similar initiative, while Namibia, Finland and France are aspiring to achieve the same. The pilot project is conducted by a team of veterinarians, doctors, dog trainers, dog handlers and a legal expert at Noida near Windhoek. Namibian authorities say beagles and German shepherds are the most suitable dog species for the job due to their extremely well-developed sense of smell. They added that the dogs are not sniffing the virus, but the chemical the patient with the virus produces. For centuries, humans have taken advantages of this exquisite canine sense of smell to hunt, search and detect drugs and explosives and diseases. If successful in Namibia as the coronavirus cases surge in Africa, this could be another giant step to be emulated by other African governments to help curb the spread of COVID-19. Mahmoud Lawan, Qtv News.
With that report, we will take another short break and we continue with sports news when we return.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. Kanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using Kanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. Kanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
And in sports news, Africa's football's governing body CAF on Tuesday, 8 September 2020 held a historic meeting via video conference with selected group of players and coaches to present the women's football strategy and the organizational aspect of Women's Champions League in Africa. More in this report.
Chaired by the CAF Deputy Secretary General, Anthony Bafo was to share the strategic plan for the development of women's football with some of the key actors of the game and exchange ideas towards growing the women's game across the continent. Among the highlights of the interactive session were a presentation by Director of Competition Samson Adamo and Head of Women's Football Development Safia Abdel Dayem on roadmap for the inaugural Women's Champions League and Women's Football Strategy. The meeting brought together some of the biggest names in African women's football, including coaches Clementine Touré of Côte d'Ivoire, Desiree Ellis of South Africa, and Lamia Bomaldi of the Moroccan under-17 squad. Among the notable players who were in attendance was four-time and reigning CAF Women's Player of the Year, Asishat Ashuala of Nigeria. South Africa's Tembi Gatlana crowned CAF Women's Player of the Year in 2018 and Gaila Egodnomud CAF Women's Player of the Year 2015.
And now, just to end on a bit of history, Ansu Fati, who was born in Guinea-Bissau, was chosen to play for Spain this week and became that country's youngest international goal scorer when he scored with a sensational strike in a 4-0 victory against Ukraine in UEFA's Nations League on Sunday. No chance of him now representing the country of his birth, that is Guinea-Bissau. Obviously, that would be a big miss for Guinea-Bissau. But just before we end this bulletin of the news, let's take a quick look at our main news stories. President Barrow has returned from the 57th ECOWAS Summit, which, among other things, extended the mandate of peacekeeping troops in the Gambia. Residents of a housing estate are among the latest to be displaced due to recent heavy rainfall. A day after International Literacy Day, we brought you an interview with the Secretary General of the Writers Association of the Gambia. And a mosque in URR is rendered unusable due to storm damage. In international news, a Norwegian Member of Parliament, who not many outside Norway had heard of, is now world famous after he nominated US President Donald Trump for a second time for the Nobel Peace Prize. And Namibia appears to have sniffed out a unique way of detecting COVID-19. In sports news, Africa's football governing body, CAF, holds a historic meeting via video conference to present the organization's Women Football Strategy Program. That's all in tonight's news edition, and thank you very much for watching. And join us tomorrow for more news. Have a pleasant night.